Same question, different answer. When asked, "What do you think God desires the least?" many people provide different answers. Some say it is committing sin, others say it is disobedience, and some say it is breaking the Sabbath, each responding according to their own standards. What about you? What do you think is the thing that God desires the least? I have also posed this question to myself. Not just once, but occasionally over time, I find myself revisiting this question. When I read good books, I tend to read them again after a certain period, discovering new insights or perspectives that I had not noticed before as I grow older, and my thinking evolves. Nowadays, the Bible is the book I most frequently revisit, and each time it feels new. This principle applies not only to books, but also to certain questions that, when revisited over time, yield slightly different answers each time. Many people believe that what God desires the least is for us to commit sin, and they answer accordingly. I used to think the same when my faith was not strong. However, as time passed, my answer to this question began to change slightly. These days, I think that what God desires the least is for us not to acknowledge Him in all our ways. Of course, I believe in God, I know His grace, and I understand Him much better than when I did not believe. But is simply believing in Him all that it means? To acknowledge Him? To acknowledge Him in all our ways means to recognize Him in every moment, and in everything we do. Some may respond negatively, questioning how one can acknowledge God in every moment, and in everything we do, arguing that it's sufficient just to believe and recognize Him. However, in reality, it is common for us to interact with non-believers outside the church, adopting their thoughts, words, and attitudes. Is it not this behavior of acknowledging God only within the church that God most desires us to avoid? I believe that God is more displeased with our inconsistent faith, which changes depending on the place and time, than with having no faith at all. This issue is not just a problem for those with weak faith. Sometimes, even pastors, deacons, elders, and anyone else can fall into this trap. To avoid falling into this problem, we need an attitude of acknowledging God in all our ways. Here, all our ways refers to our thoughts, hearts, and actions. Reflect and examine whether in our thoughts we are subtly failing to acknowledge God, and whether in our hearts we are subtly failing to acknowledge God. By doing so, we can become the people and saints that God delights in. When we delight in God, He delights in us, and God's grace will continuously overflow towards those whom He delights in.
구독, 좋아요, 알림 설정 해주세요. Subscribe, like, set notifications.